Hello! Today I'm going to be showing you how you can bulk update product variant cost per item with the Matrixify app. So here I have a product in my Shopify admin, and for reference, this is the field that we're going to be updating today, the cost per item field. So let's get started. The first step would be to head to the Matrixify app, and as you can see, I'm in the Matrixify homepage here. The next step would then be to click on New Export, which I shall do now. On the New Export page, you can then select which format you would like to export in. In many cases, the Excel format is the most simple and easiest format to export in and work with. However, you can also export in the Matrixify CSV format if working with CSV files is easier for you, or if you're exporting a large amount of data. However, generally Excel would be the way to go. Then in the Sheet section, you must select to export products. In my case, I already have products selected, but if you don't already have products selected, just click on the Select Sheets drop-down and then select to export products from that drop-down. Once you've done so, click on Products, and you should then be able to see all of the column groups that you can export. In our case, we need to select Basic Columns, Variant Cost, and Inventory Variants. We can then go ahead and further refine the export to include only the minimum required columns to update the variant cost value. To do so, you can then click on the Basic Columns group drop-down, and here we really only need to select ID and Handle. For Inventory Variants, we need to go ahead and select Variant ID and Variant SKU. And then for variant cost, there is only one column, and that is the column we're going to be exporting for variant cost, which is variant cost. It should be mentioned that you can also export any other column that you would like. You don't have to export only the minimum amount of columns. For example, for inventory variants, you can export any other column you can see here. You can even export media or collections, category, meta fields, anything that will help you identify the product that you would like to update. But generally, you really only do need the minimum required columns to update the value, so that's what we're going to be exporting now. And then scrolling down, you can add a filter if you would like to only export specific products from your store. However, in my case, I'll be exporting all products in my store, so I won't be adding a filter. In the description of this video, I will leave a link to our products documentation, which shows all of the filters that you can use and what their value should be to export. You don't need to change any of the export options. The default ones will work fine and exactly as they should. And if all looks good, you can then go ahead and press export. And as you can see, all 5 of my products have been exported. And then you'll want to go ahead and download your exported file. To do so, click on the Download Exported File button, and you'll see your file downloading. And once downloaded, click on it to open it. Here I am in the exported file. As you can see in the file, we have our product ID, handle, and then for the products we have the variant ID and variant SKU, and then finally the variant cost column. Now the variant cost column is the column in which we're going to be adding our cost per item value. Now you'll see for the first product that there are 4 rows. This means that there are 4 variants for this product. In my case, the 4 variants are copper, gold, silver, and rose gold. Then moving down, we have B-shirt with 1 row, which would be 1 variant, and then it's the same idea going on as well. Now I'm going to add in my variant cost values. So for the first variant, that would, in my case, be 10. For the second, 15. For the third, 5. And so on. I'll go ahead and add all of those values now, and once I've done so, I will be back to show you what that looks like. As you can see, I've now added all of the values for the variant cost column. Once you've added all of the values to the variant cost column, you can then go ahead and save your file, and we can head back to the Matrixify app. I'll now go ahead and save my file. You can name the file anything you would like to name it. In my case, I'm going to be naming my file Products Cost per Item Import, but you can really name it anything that you would like to name it. But yes, in my case, I'm going to be naming my file Products Cost per Item Import. Once saved, we can then go back to the Matrixify app to import our file. I'm now back in the Matrixify app, and this is where we're going to be importing our file. To do so, press Add File and select the file that you've just saved. In my case, that again would be product cost per item import. Then you can either drag and drop the file into the app or press Open, whichever works best and is easier for you. You'll then see the file uploading and analyzing. In my case, the app has correctly identified that my file contains 5 products. The app has also correctly recognized all of the columns in my import file. There may also be an ignored export summary sheet. This basically comes from the file that we just exported, and you can leave it won't harm the import at all, it will just be ignored. So if all looks good, and as it should, you can go ahead and press import. You don't need to change any of the import options. You don't need to do anything else really apart from press import. So we'll go ahead and do that now. And now you'll be able to see that your products have updated. And if we go to the product in our Shopify admin, so for example, the product we looked at in the very beginning of this video, be jam, you'll now see that it has a cost per item value of 59. And that really would be it. That is how you can bulk update product variant cost per item using the Matrixify app. So we also have a great written tutorial on this as well, which you can see here. So this tutorial basically goes through everything that I've just gone through in the video, but in written format. And it also shows you different combinations for the columns that you can use to update the variant cost value. In my case, I used ID, handle, variant ID, SKU, and variant cost, but you can also cut that down to just variant, SKU, and variant cost if you would like. But that's basically what the tutorial goes over and shows you how to do, but again in written format. If you have any questions at all, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We would be more than happy to help with anything that you have questions about or have concerns about, or if you run into any issues, we are here to help. So you can reach out to us either via Slack or via email. And we also have a great in-app chat with our Matrixify Support AI assistant, Mybar, who is also on hand to help you in real time whenever you may need it. But other than that, that would be it from me today, and that is how you can bulk update your product cost per item value using the Matrixify app.